Should I keep punch your side up or?
I don't know. Should you?
I don't know.
I don't know. You just looking recording. Whatever ninja you feel like. All right. Greetings to the Geek Clan. This is Grimlock Stonehammer with Dojo Dan. Haha, I'm giving you a nickname. Deal with it.
What's going on?
And we're going to talk about Season 1 of Cobra Kai, and we will talk about Season 2 at another video, but I figured I'd rather have a discussion for the first video with an actual martial arts instructor.
Who happens to have the name Daniel.
Yeah, who happens
It was
to
tough
have the
growing
name
up
Dan.
with. It was tough growing up with.
Yeah, well, you know, Daniel was kind of a jerk, you know?
I wasn't that guy.
No, you wasn't that
No,
guy?
I was the geek who got picked up.
Yeah, that's why you
That's
had
why
martial
I
arts,
studied
right?
martial arts.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
Let's face it. Why else do you?
So there's a lot of big hype since it hit Netflix.
Dude, it's been insane.
Yeah, and
Even like my phone has been ringing more because of everyone watching.
yeah, well, it's kind of like the D&D thing. Like D&D was like dead in decay and nobody played it,
Yep.
and then Stranger Things came up, playing D&D, and people were
saw
like,
that was
"Oh,
cool. It's
wow,
on TV. It's pop culture.
yeah,
you know?
let's just play it or whatever." So your phone's been ringing off the hook because of that?
Not off the hook, but
What?
I've been getting more calls than average. I think some of that also is due to the part that like a lot of sports programs are canceled. People want their kids to get out of the house. Weather will be turning. You know, historically, martial arts dojos are quiet in the summer. We get built back up when school goes back in. But
Yeah.
right now, like our industry is hurting because schools are undecided what they're doing. So because of that, a lot of people are left in limbo. They're not sure. I mean, I'm fortunate where I've got 3,000 square feet. I've got 11 circles that people can train in. So I can have up to 11 in class. They're 6-foot training circles. Everyone gets their own. They're sanitized between classes.
Yes,
Bathrooms are
I
sanitized.
actually do see that a lot. So,
You know, so we are a safe place. We're family run. We treat you like family.
yep. Unlike Cobra Kai, well, the
Yeah,
original movie,
tell you what,
movie.
They trade places. Like you see Johnny trying to do a lot of good stuff.
Yeah,
and Daniel's kinda acting
Johnny,
like a jerk.
Daniel's a jerk.
Daniel
So
always was a hothead. Though.
yeah, because if you looked at it, like somebody did a video saying that Daniel was the like bully in it, and it actually reflects
Which is
that.
fantastic because they actually like. Look, this is a spoiler alert. We're
No,
talking
there
about
are
the show.
spoilers. There's going to be spoilers in it.
This
Sorry.
is, if you haven't
You
watched
watch
it,
it too
don't
bad.
watch this video
Don't,
anymore.
yeah, all right, because we're having spoilers right now. So if
Yeah, like what was cool is
Go
the
on.
fact that I don't know whether or not that was done intentionally, but they actually worked that aspect of Johnny's point of view into the television show, which we thought was hilarious.
yeah, it wasn't well because there's always two sides to each story. You
Look,
know
when
what I'm
he's sitting there
saying?
saying, "I'm defending myself after getting sucker punched," he lays a front ball kick, a roundhouse kick,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
a backhand,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
lays him out. Like,
yeah.
seriously.
Like one punch would have been fine. And it's like,
Yeah.
but he was Cobra
But no
Kai.
mercy, that's
no
what he
mercy.
was-
Yeah. Because I think the real villain of the movie was the sensei.
John Kreese.
Oh, yeah, John Kreese
hands down.
was
Which
the actually thing.
John Kreese was a play off of different types of karate. Like if you look at how karate came to America, it was either an immigrant that had an art that taught it. It was, you know, the original dojos in America would have been kung fu because the Chinese would have been teaching it to themselves when they were here building the railroads.
And they didn't want it to be taught by anybody else because of Bruce
that's some
Lee.
of the
yeah.
stigma that they developed with Bruce Lee, and it's actually accurate that when you went back into Chinatowns and everything, you were forbidden to teach a non-Chinese, non-Japanese person, and that was from their instructors. They didn't feel safe here. They were persecuted against, and they did not want to share their secrets with any of the Westerners.
Which the interesting thing is, like, you see that reflection because the Karate Kid kind of messed up on something because Mr. Miyagi came from Okinawa, and they had to explain that in the second movie
I was gonna say
because his ancestor got drunk and ended up in China, so they explained it. So let's talk about the movie. So was it 35 years after or whatever?
Yeah, 34, 35 years. I
Yeah,
think what they're saying the time frame is.
So everything's going great for, well, first off, let's talk about Johnny, because this is what the story's about.
Yep.
Johnny's life is horrible.
He's got no balance.
He's
a
no
wandering
balance.
soul.
He's like angry at the
Oh, yeah.
world. He's still living in the 80s.
Completely and totally.
Totally
No
in the
cell
80s. Has a failed marriage. You know, has a kid who doesn't respect him either.
No, that's a train wreck situation.
Yeah,
right there.
yeah.
But the thing is, you know, people have seen that. They've been there. They've done that.
Yeah.
So I think this show's actually doing interesting because it's taking real life scenarios. It's putting them to the forefront and it's showing how people can work through whatever it is that they've got going on. And to me, truthfully, it's all about finding that balance.
Yep.
You know, anything to any extreme is no good. Lord knows we're seeing that in our political landscapes. We're not gonna go there.
No, we don't talk
Completely
political here.
No.
But unless it was Geek, then we were like Cobra versus whatever. But that's
Well, we
different.
can talk about how George Lucas put some of that in Star Wars. You know?
Oh God. Yeah. Anyways.
How does Liberty fall to thunderous applause? And we're seeing that take place. But
Wayne's
let's
not here. We're not talking about Star Wars. All right. So, yes, he's self-destruction, and what ends up happening is kind of like mirrors the Karate Kid movie, is a kid's getting beat up by some high school kids, and they're beating him up, and I guess they started, and he's like, just, you know, don't mess with my car, and then these young kids were like, well, you know, we're going to mess with you, and next thing you know, there's a fight, and Johnny defends himself.
Yep.
He didn't
goes
like
a little
provoke
on the
it.
offensive here.
A little
offensive. On the offensive.
But he basically said, you know what, I'm not taking no crap from.
He pulls a Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, basically he does. He does.
Not really, but
kind of like, well, he makes sure that they get like beat up.
Oh yeah.
And with the show is there's a lot of intertwining between Daniel and Johnny.
Yep.
Like, his car gets hit by a car, some drunk teens or whatever. His daughter is in it,
part of that, yeah,
and doesn't tell it. And there's a lot of things going on, and you're like, what's going on here? You know. So this kid Miguel, is it Miguel? I think it is. Miguel is like, oh, why don't you teach me how to do, you know, fighting, blah blah blah, and I kind of like divine intervention light bulb came up in Johnny's head, it seemed. And so he went to his stepfather, who's a jerk. Because
the reason why Johnny probably was a jerk when he was younger, I mean, there was absolutely no support there for him whatsoever.
And he got John Kreese as like
talked about in later episodes.
Yeah, and you had like John Kreese as like the father figure type. Which is really a good father figure. Yeah. So
he was still living his war.
Yeah,
he
still is. But anyways, so you see that, and you see him like evolving into a better person.
Yep.
But the problem is, Daniel doesn't see that. He has post-traumatic stress of Cobra Kai from like when he was younger.
He just sees it for what it is at face value. You know.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough when you've got somebody who you've never agreed with to come face to face with them later and figure things out. But I think that's part of growing as an adult. And the unfortunate part I see in the Karate Kid story that they're showing right now is how these two instructors are at war with each other, and their disagreements are trickling down into their students.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that for season 2.
I've had that chat with my kids here with regards to martial arts because a lot of the kids are watching it. And I sit back and I joke around with the parents. I'm like, Sensei has absolutely no beer in his fridge over here. I'm more like Daniel in that respect. But I also don't want the ego to be believed that any martial art is better than another. And that to me is really what it boils down to. But that's like in all martial arts movies. That's always been one of the
even in anime,
things.
like my technique is better
than yours.
Yeah.
No, it's up to individual practitioners and circumstances.
So I now see if I'm wrong. I feel like Cobra Kai and the Miyagi way is kind of like the yin and yang.
They can be because
what'd you think about that? One's more aggressive and more like passive.
Yep.
And that's what I see, and that's what I thought this like season one was trying to convey.
I could see that because they really got into what Cobra Kai was. You know,
Yeah.
Cobra Kai law of the fist law, which is actually similar to Kempo because that's what Kempo translates to, fist law.
And it was funny because he brought like all these losers, he would say, like geeks and people who have been picked on, into the dojo, and he really.
Oh, yeah. He starts railing on him. He rails on him. He's like a drill
He's
sergeant.
like old school '80s tough
Yeah.
love,
But
doesn't crap.
The
you
crime
know.
part is like when I watch this show, sometimes I see some of myself in each of them.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's interesting as a dojo owner to be watching this, who grew up with the franchise, and now to sit back and like oversee everything and be like,
Yeah,
it can
it's
be a little
like,
like that.
yeah,
Because
but-
there have been classes that I've done where I've talked to the kids and said, look, I said you have to understand that you have to have a thick skin. And it's one thing that's really not talked about a lot in society now, with this whole concept of anti-bullying. I am concerned for the moment when a child decides to stand up for another child who is being picked on by 5 kids.
Yeah.
And that group of 5 turns on the person who came over with all good intentions to help, and now they become the target. What are you going to do in that situation?
And
what you best know how to handle yourself a little bit. If anything, I've always told the kids, look, go get help. Somebody get help, but definitely if you feel you have to intervene, do so. Do what you think is right. Follow your heart, but understand that it could turn on you, and you have to be ready for that.
Season 1 also brings up a different thing that we didn't deal with when we were kids. We were bullied, but we were face-to-face bully.
Mm-hmm.
And
the cyber stuff.
The cyber stuff was
they
actually
did a good job with that.
Yeah, and it was really an eye opener because you can't
For
shut
people
that
that
off.
never
You know?
experienced it, you don't understand how it hits. And like, if you're someone who is an influencer, which is the modern term for someone who is very savvy with social media and has a large audience that follows their interactions, you can do some serious psychological damage.
Oh yeah, and it was funny when they had the best friend come in.
Yep.
And she's like, "We don't take girls, blah blah blah." But he's like, "Sensei, we need to, do this." And then basically she's like, "Oh, okay, attack him," and she like,
Oh, that scene was fantastic.
like
you felt
knocks
so
him
bad
out.
for her when she gets hit by that sidekick, but then you realize that her father is like a professional football player.
And she knocks him out.
And she knows how to handle herself.
Yeah.
And she just got sick of, pardon the expression, sick of this shit, and took him to school.
So one of the things you do see is the training with the Cobras is Hawk.
Yes.
Hawk
Love
was
that character.
Yes and no.
He's kind of like the new
yes,
bad boy,
no, but he's like he's going in the wrong way, like how he's doing it.
but that adds depth to the story.
Yeah, it
When
does.
that kid came in with that mohawk.
Yeah, and he's
And
like, I'm
everyone's looking at
flipping
him
the
like,
script.
Who's this? And it was like, dude.
So Hawk has a palate and he has a scar and he's always been very shy.
Yeah, he was born with a cleft lip and
Born with cleft lip and very shy and whatever. And he started doing Cobra Kai, and you see him evolving with self-confidence. And this is what Johnny gives the kids, self-confidence.
too much though, to the point
well,
where
way
his
too much.
ego is
Oh my
kicked
God.
in big time.
His
But
ego, yeah.
he's also tough enough they can back it up too, so that's what makes him formidable as a fighter in the ring or whatever.
They did a lot of homage in the first season to the movie too, like
Amazing amount.
when they did the Halloween, like what are you gonna draw, what are you gonna be, and the kid's poor, he doesn't have a lot, and he's like, well, why don't you be a skeleton, which totally messes with Daniel's psyche.
Oh yeah, big time.
When you see him walk in and you're like, what the heck's going on,
Even utilizing like old songs
Yeah.
and either having them remixed or used in different scenes. A lot of the same settings that had taken place you see in the rehash of, which is pretty interesting.
And the interesting thing about this is the biggest stopper of Johnny being successful is Daniel, who is already successful.
Yeah.
And he keeps knocking him down. And, Johnny's just trying to make a living here,
Tell you what, Daniel did pretty well for himself.
Yeah, he did.
He came from that Reseda. He was the kid that, like, the rich kids parents
they flip
didn't
flopped.
want. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, they flip flopped because Johnny was the rich kid, whatever, and now he's struggling, trying to make himself
But
whatever.
they do a good job talking
Yeah.
about that. Just because a house looks nice on the outside
Doesn't mean
that
it's
the inside is any
inside.
good.
Yep.
And that is very true.
The way Johnny actually has like Mr. Miyagi techniques, some of the ideas that he does. There's one where he's like, "Oh, you have to deflect this ball," and he's launching baseballs at him, and he's blocking it. I'm like, "Oh my god!"
The absolute worst
Oh,
one. The worst one is when he caught him completely off guard and got him like I want to say it was right in the ear with it.
Yeah, he's like,
That was one of the worst shots. I
"Oh."
was like, oh my god.
Why are you flinching? Well, today everybody's gonna get punched. You're like, what?
We're doing headbutts today.
Headbutts. Like, obviously, a lot of this stuff wouldn't be legal. There would be like ramifications.
What
I would
happens
think
behind
into
closed
this.
doors happens behind closed
That's
doors.
true, and that's why
No.
in season 2, that's something different we'll talk about.
Nowadays,
but
you wouldn't be open anymore if you were doing stuff
no,
like that.
no, because a lot of the things that they show in season 1 and season 2, it seems like there's no way.
It is a throwback to the old, though. I mean, if you really
Yeah.
look at it, though, we had touched upon it before and kind of got sidetracked a little bit, and that's easy for me to do sometimes while I'm talking.
So,
It is really a tell of martial arts in America. You had servicemen who came back who had learned martial arts overseas. These were people who were in foreign lands defending their own life, trying to, convey whatever message it was that was being brought, whether it be peace, civility, or whatnot. And, when these servicemen came back, they were teaching these skills to people in schools. And a lot of their mindset was still that very hard militaristic training, like your life or theirs.
that's where you see Johnny's training is like.
That was how they were trained, though, because they were in it for their life.
Yeah.
There was, not this trying to find inner peace. That may have been a lesson that could have been taught, but wasn't something that was stressed and wasn't something that was well remembered. So, like, you had a lot of servicemen come back, and I can tell you in the state of Rhode Island, there were tons of dojos that were very, very, very tough dojos and widely respected. I mean, the trick is finding, again, that
The
balance.
balance, yeah.
That balance.
So we're talked a lot about Johnny, and there's a lot of 80s references, and Johnny's very blunt. He's not your, I don't know, politically correct sometimes.
Absolutely not.
Not politically correct. So
Those can be the qualities that I like, though, because
Yeah,
some
yeah,
of the PC stuff, it makes it too easy.
yeah.
It needs
So
to be a level of toughness.
let's flip the script to Daniel. Let's talk about him a little bit.
Yep.
He's lost balance. He's out of control because he sees Cobra Kai coming back. He sees Johnny. He's getting all this anxiety and stuff like that, and Johnny drawing a huge penis.
Oh, that was phenomenal.
And it just seems like they're always at tug of war, and
Yeah.
he takes in his son, which he doesn't even realize.
No, that was like
That
some of
was
the
an interesting
craziness that they
twist.
did. I mean, they definitely set up the script to be pretty crazy.
Flip
the script is right.
Yeah, they did because they took in him, and you see him training with the Mr. Miyagi way, and
Yep.
oh, you gotta do this and
But
this.
he has a very troubled past.
Yes, he
And
does.
that starts creeping itself back up.
Then
Then he's doing the right thing.
he's doing a lot of anger issues, and you actually see Daniel trying to be too much like Mr. Miyagi and not trying to teach in his own way.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the first season,
I'll agree with that.
yeah, you will, because that's how I feel. And his daughter has done karate or whatever. Because it was funny because Johnny's main student was dating Johnny's Daniel's daughter, and she's like, "Oh, I can show you some moves," and she's just like, bam!
Yeah, Sensei Sam.
Sensei Sam, yeah.
Thought those were great scenes,
Yeah.
though.
But it was interesting because here you have Miguel doesn't have a father figure, and Johnny trying to be like a father figure.
Yep.
And then you have Johnny's son getting like that father figure from Daniel, And the reason why was because he wanted to piss him off because of all this thing. They do a lot of turns and twists. Yes,
lots of anger.
There's a lot of anger, and there's a lot of like intercrossing of things that are like, why would you do that?
A lot of it
makes it very interesting. Yeah, a lot of miscommunication, and I thought it was good. And then at the end, of course, we have the end of season 1. We have the tournament.
Yeah, like one thing I got a joke about with the tournament, and even like my kids saw it, and they were like, "How in the world?" I love how everyone's training, and they've been training for maybe up to a year, if that. And all of a sudden, you see them fighting in black belt divisions, and they go back to their school, and they got white belts back on afterwards. I was kind of like, okay, hold up. How's that work? Because tournaments don't work at all like that.
Well, like that.
Usually
that's
it's
why I'm
a
like,
higher rank who's fighting a low rank, and they're sandbagging so they can take a first place. That's what I've seen back in the old school tournament days.
Yeah, well.
Somebody would sandbag. Nobody would jump up a rank to want to fight. You went down rank because you wanted to take a trophy home.
I think the scene when they first came in was amazing when the Cobra Kai came in.
Oh, yeah. They set precedents.
It was like, oh, my God, that's... Wow, you just felt it.
Yep.
And then you see the same thing that happened...
Choreography was good.
Yeah, the fight scenes were amazing.
Yeah,
it was just really good, and the story's just so good. And you see the after effect, like show no mercy, and his kid got hurt, you know, and then he's like do, and he attacked the arm, and you know, Miguel wins and stuff like that. So you see the flip flop.
Yep.
And whatever, and Johnny realizes like there's no honor in that, you know, and you gotta strike first. There's a difference between striking first and having honor, you know, and you start to see that, like the flashbacks of like what happened, and what happens at the end of season 1. That jerk comes in. He's like smoking a cigar. John Kreese is like,
John Kreese is back.
I'm here, ha ha ha.
John Kreese is back.
And we'll have to talk about that for season 2 another time. But overall, what did you think of the show from a martial arts perspective?
I enjoy it. You know, I was a fan of the first franchise up until episode 3 took place. Didn't like the direction 3 went. 4 wasn't too bad with Hilary Swank coming in.
No, the next Karate Kid?
Yeah, after Macho got blackballed in Hollywood.
Well, he was playing himself. I guess he was reflecting himself in the character, I guess. Johnny being a jerk.
He basically got tossed out of Hollywood.
Daniel's being a jerk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's playing himself.
Yeah, exactly.
He's reflecting himself.
Exactly. I thought it was so cool how they were able to get all the original cast members back for this, because there's been parodies that have gone on throughout the years and stuff like that. I wonder where they are now, and there's been like YouTube videos and stuff like that to it. I just thought it was kind of cool to see it come back. They financed it mostly themselves.
Really?
Because if you see, they're like the producers and executive producers of it, so.
I think they did a nice homage to Mr. Miyagi.
Yep.
I think that scene was really good.
I wish at the end of the tournament one, I didn't catch it, but I wish that they would have given an RIP to Pat Johnson. Pat Johnson, for those of you who don't know, was the referee in the original Karate Kid. He was the head tournament ref. And Pat Johnson was, in his own right, a phenomenal martial artist.
Oh, was he?
If I'm not mistaken, he was fight choreographer for the movie Karate Kid. He was also fight choreographer for like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Really?
And had a lot of credit under his belt. Just look up the name Pat Johnson, martial arts. He died, I forget which year. It was a ways back, not too far off from when Pat Morita had passed. So it was maybe in the early 2000s.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you here again for the second time, and then we'll
talk about something good.
Yeah, well, we're going to have another time. He's going to come back because we're going to talk about season 2 at another time.
We definitely have to talk about season 2.
Because there's a lot more juicy stuff.
Cliffhanger. I won't ruin it for you now.
We won't ruin it for now.
It's amazing.
But we will have to say that you see a lot more changing into the evil side. I'm not going to say dark side, but the evil side of things, and just how people
It does touch
reflect.
a lot on dark and light. You know,
Yeah.
you see that quite often throughout the show.
Yeah, and it's
again,
really good.
Truly, I'm just going to say it's about finding balance within yourself.
Yep.
You know, the yin and the yang.
In which they talk a lot about in season 2.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So tell me, guys, what you guys think about this. Leave a comment below, like, subscribe, and if you're looking for a great place to go, if you're in this area, why don't you do some shout-outs, man?
Dan's Martial Arts Centers in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, is run by myself. I've been involved in martial arts since I was 15. I'm 44, so a better part of my life, and I've just seen it work so well for so many people, finding balance, understanding problem solving, getting up when you fall down. It's probably the most important lesson that we teach here is you're gonna fall down, whether it's on the dojo mat, whether it's in life, whether it's just trying something new. Get back up, dust yourself off, get back in the saddle, and you know, give it hell is all I can say. That's pretty much what life is all about.
Yep.
Do your best, be kind, and that's it.
All right, guys. Well, I'm Grimlock Stormhammer, and this is Dojo Dan.
Finally, someone who didn't call me Daniel San.
No, but you're Dojo Dan now from now on.
I was a bouncer for 18 years. I've been called far worse. Trust me.
And we'll talk to you guys later, so like and subscribe and share this video. All right, guys? Until then, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Peace, y'all.